How to use Instagram as a freelance translator, coming up. Hello and welcome back to the Freelanceverse. Thanks for coming back to the channel, to beautiful snowy Belgium. I always love the first snow of the year and also gives an amazing lighting. So a perfect morning to record this important video, I feel like. I've been working on this for a while. It's going to be about Instagram. I have kind of a very mixed relationship with Instagram, but because I feel like it's a social media platform, so it's inherently very powerful and unhealthy at the same time, right? But I feel like, especially for freelancers and for freelance translators, it can be extremely important and a very important marketing tool if used right. And in today's video, I want to bring exactly these advantages to you. Now, full disclosure, the reason I haven't done this video in the last 4 or 5 years is because, to be honest, I have not used Instagram to its full potential. Purposefully, I would say. I have used it in the beginning a bit, so I have some experience when I started out using it professionally. But then I made a conscious decision not to use social media anymore, privately or professionally. So in the recent years, I have not used it to an extent of making a video about it, right? So first I had to talk to a lot of people, do a lot of research. Now this research is done, so finally the video gets done as well. I'm going to structure this video into 3 parts, so you have a nice overview. You can also skip like the chapters, they should be displayed here. First, we're going to talk about profile optimization. Next up, we look at the content marketing approach, and the last section will be about outreach marketing approach. Instagram has an ever-growing relevance, I feel like, in professional networking, but I do think that many freelancers are missing out on potential job opportunities there. While it is mostly used privately, I guess most of people watching at home have a private Instagram account. And while it is perfectly fine, you can keep it. You can even use that private account if it's already has a big following and start posting professionally on it. You just need to be very, very aware of that, right? What does it mean to your audience if you suddenly start posting professionally? And what does it mean for your business if people see what you post there privately as well, right? I would always recommend anyways to start a new profile. But I know people who mix a professional and personal life on Instagram and it works perfectly fine. So basically all the advice I give, all the tips I give in this video are my personal opinions, of course. You can follow them if you want. You can tweak them slightly that they match to your preferences, or you can just completely ignore them. That's perfectly fine as well. For the purposes of this video going forward, I'm assuming that you start a dedicated professional account on Instagram, or you already have one. When you first start to post professionally on Instagram, you need to start by optimizing your profile. So let's look at that first. The obvious way to tweak an Instagram profile is by the username and the bio. So when you first start setting up, you have to choose a username. There you can kind of go 2 ways. You have to think about how you want to build your personal brand. Do you want to build a brand based on the market vertical that you're working in? If you're a cosmetics translator, we see that in an example later. You might want to include that in your username. Or do you want to build a personal brand based around your name or your business name? Then you should use that as a username. Next up, your bio. You definitely want your bio to be concise and clear and to the point what you are doing. I see a lot of people choosing to put, for example, English, Portuguese to Chinese translator in their bio, and then when it's shortened on the phone, you only see the languages, right? So there I would recommend to use Freelance Translator at the beginning, then your languages. So if someone is interested, they see, okay, translator, I can click on it, and then they see the full bio, language specialist, DM for collaboration, and separated by the vertical lines. I really like this bio. This gives you a full idea. It's concise and clear. There is no, the capitalization is consistent. So I really like the way this feels and looks. Since Instagram is mostly mobile based, you can use also emojis. You can use flags as well. They don't show up usually on desktop. Now me personally, I only use Instagram on desktop, so for me the emojis never show up, but most people use it on the phone. So I think since Instagram is so mobile based, you can use emojis as well and put the flags in for your languages. Why not? Gives a nice touch. You definitely want to include an action item in form of a link in your bio as well, either to your portfolio, to your LinkedIn, to your website, to your link tree, for example. It definitely makes sense to put a call to action there, because that's the first thing that people look at when they've joined your photo next to, apart from your profile picture. So the idea is that people open your profile, look at your profile picture, and then immediately gaze to the right to read the rest. That's been studied, that this is how people see Instagram profiles. So you definitely want to have an approachable profile picture, clean, professional headshot that has your eyes open, so you can immediately create a connection there. And then after that, people look to the right, and there you want a description of who this face actually is and the call to action. Then slightly below that, Instagram has a very interesting highlight feature that's, relatively new. It's been around now for a while, but in the beginning it wasn't there, definitely. But now it's actually really nice, because this is prime real estate on your profile, right? It's basically on a mobile UI. This is huge, right? So you definitely want to make use of that. You can, for example, make highlights about your portfolio. You can make highlights about client testimonials. If you have references, that's always a great spot to put that immediately there. You can also have a highlight with your past work, that you've done. Maybe with some appearances, if you have talked at a conference, if you have been on a podcast, if you have done something for a non-profit, for a volunteer work, for example. In terms of language that you're using, most people use English on Instagram, but it's definitely not needed. I have an example of an Italian translator that does everything on Instagram on Italian. So it's a choice. You have to decide what you want to do. So definitely, if you're not fluent in English, if your written English is not good enough, or if it takes you super long to create nice copy in English, it's probably best if you use your native tongue. If you're versed in English, you feel comfortable, then it's best to do it in English, because you have much more outreach, of course. The important thing is just that everything is on point, because you are representing a language professional. So you don't want to have your posts or your profile full of errors. That's embarrassing, and that will not give you any chances of finding clients on there. Next up, you need to ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you on Instagram? For professional reasons, right? That's not something that immediately should come to mind when thinking about Instagram. Unless you're a marketer, then yes, but as a freelance translator, what is your purpose? And you should ask yourself a couple of questions. I wrote a few down, I will tell you in a second, and they are not exclusive, right? You can answer yes to several of them, but depending on your answers and on your answers to a lot of more questions that you should ask yourself, your content may adapt significantly. So let's look at a couple of questions. For example, are you here to connect with your peers? Are you here to inform people about your profession? Are you here to meet agency clients? Are you here to meet direct clients? Are you here to inform about facts of your specializations? Are you here to inform about facts of your language, etc., etc.? So a lot of questions you can ask yourself. Really define in 1 or 2 sentences what your goal is with a professional Instagram account. That's very important, because if you're just trying it out, if you, I've seen Adrian talk about it in a video, so I'm just going to try out Instagram, it's not going to work, right? Because it's just not worth it. It's so much effort, it's so much time investment, that you definitely need a clear structure, a clear strategy. Otherwise, you just leave it and you focus on something else that you're passionate about. This is definitely a beast that you, if you're not fully in it, if you don't have a content plan, if you don't have a strategy, just let it be. All of the questions I just mentioned have a huge impact on what your profile, what your content will look like. It's really important to realize that Instagram is not only just like cat pictures and food pictures, right? It has a great potential, especially for marketeers. So a lot of my marketing colleagues actually use Instagram to its full potential, and it's impressive to see. And I reached out to 2 of them, to Alessia and Chiara. They're both Italian translators with very different approaches to their Instagram, but both extremely powerful and impactful. So I asked them if I can use their profiles as examples. They have, as I said, a different approach, but they kind of complement each other. So it's nice to compare the two and to show you what a very effective Instagram marketing strategy for freelance translators can look like. So let's take a look. So first up, we have Alessio. He's a big supporter of the channel. He was with me at Translating Europe Forum. As you can see, he focuses on Italian. So he writes everything in Italian, the bio and also all the posts are in Italian. As far as I know, maybe not the one about TEF, but most of them are Italian, and sometimes he's addressing people in French as well. It looks very professional. He clearly has professional photo shoots as well, and he's posting very regularly. He's sharing two stories, and it's all a professional channel. So in his name, he's already called Armenise Translation. So he's very much focusing his profile on connecting with peers, informing about the Italian language, informing about translation, informing about teaching students as well, because he's also a tutor for different languages. He's introducing himself, his services. He's speaking in French as well, because he's working with French and Italian as well. So as you can see, his profile is very much about building a personal brand. Right, he is Alessio Armenise, he's an Italian translator, and he's building his brand around that. When you look at his grid pictures down, it has a very sleek and young professional feel, kind of. It probably attracts also students, that want to enter the industry. So it's a really nice approach that he's doing, and he's keeping it up consistently, which in the end is the number one goal. So let's compare that with Chiara Vecchi, who is also a supporter of the channel. She took a very different approach. As you can see, it's all in English, and her username is Italian Cosmetics Translator. That's what I meant before. So she is not trying to build a personal brand around her name, but around the market vertical that she's in. Her grid, as you can see, looks very bright, very lively, and oh look, that's me there. She was on a specialized episode. So she clearly makes an effort to keep a nice, consistent overlook over the whole grid. That a lot of plants in there. So with her cosmetics background, she's probably trying to, I don't know if consciously or unconsciously, but for me, this gives a very natural feel, this profile, right? It feels very kind of bio-organic, natural. So she's doing a great job in that. It definitely gives me a cosmetic kind of clean feeling. She is posting in English, so she's very much attracting potential direct clients with this profile, right? So it's a kind of a different approach. Of course, she's also connecting with peers through it. That's no question. But I feel like there's a different angle. If they both answer the questions that I asked before about why they're on Instagram, they probably have quite different answers there, right? And that's interesting. And both can work. Both, they're clearly doing great on there, and they're both doing it consistently. So it must work for them, whatever they do. And it depends very much on your personality as well, which approach works for you, right? Thanks to both of them for lending me their profile real estate to give you an example of what it could look like, because mine is definitely not, I mean, I have kind of a YouTube Instagram. You can check it out. I'm going to link it down below as well. So looking at these two fantastic profiles was kind of the seamless transition into chapter number 2, which is the content marketing approach. We've seen already what they post, right? Their different approaches to content marketing. Now, in the context of a freelance translator, content marketing refers to creating and sharing valuable information, targeted content to showcase your expertise in a specific field, in a specialization. You want to build trust in order to attract clients. That's kind of the idea. So you are focusing really on client needs, you're showcasing your skills, your expertise, you're fostering connections as well. So you're kind of playing the slow game rather than like direct promotion, direct ads, or direct cold emailing. You're doing a passive approach. Brand building has always been a very passive marketing funnel. The goal there is to increase visibility, to always be there consistently at the same time, regularly, once a week, twice a week, whatever you decide, so that you keep always in people's minds, and then further down the line you get recognized, you get recommended, and you find jobs through that. This is one way to use Instagram. That's very much how I use my YouTube channel as well. It's extremely hard, even though it's called passive, but it takes a lot of work and you don't see immediate results. So the motivation in the beginning is hard to keep going. But then slowly, when the ball is rolling, you see the compounding interest, and it gets into something very valuable. And the cool thing is that once the work is done, it stays there forever. It's very resilient marketing. Once you build a personal brand, that's not going to shatter just one day to the other. I do feel like nowadays it's even like indispensable in business. Like if you are starting a new business, you're kind of just forced, or not forced, but it's just normal that you document everything. I couldn't imagine nowadays starting and not documenting my progress some way or the other on social media, right? People are very interested in that personal touch. They want to know about your struggles, your wins. They want to share along. So let's say, for example, if you are starting out next year, if you gave yourself the goal, I'm going to start in 2025. why not document every single step that you take and put it on a platform like LinkedIn or Instagram and show the people all the progress that you do? I would love to see that, right? I've seen it once on Robert's channel. Someone started it a little bit, showed like how they started out as a translator, and I love this series. It's really cool. I'm going to link it down below if I find the videos. So if some of you out there do that, that's amazing. Please send it to me, and of course, like market it properly that people also find it. And then this is your content marketing already sorted, right? You are the person that is starting out, and people can join along and root for them, you know. Now, consistency, as I said before, is key, and consistency is hard. It's really tough because there are good times, there are bad times. Sometimes you feel bad. I sometimes still have to make videos when I feel bad, when I don't have time at all. Like it happened that it was Monday afternoon and I didn't have anything. Luckily, I set up my thing like this, that even if in the worst case, I can just, you know, come on and do a live stream, and I'm still there at 6 p.m. every Monday. But yeah, it can be tough. So you definitely want to be prepared. You want to have post ideas. So before you start your profile, I would suggest you have like 20 content ideas ready, right? So if you decide to have a content strategy and to post once a week, you already have 20 weeks ahead planned what you will do. If you post twice a week, you have 10 weeks ahead planned. And these posts don't have to be super elaborate, right? You could just use Canva, make a nice graphic, and then answer one question that you ask yourself in this post. Like I prepared a few of them on the screen. So for example, what is your freelance business about? That's an obvious one. What are the strengths of your work? What is your experience in the niche? How does it help anybody? What are you doing on a daily basis? What does your workplace look like? Content around holidays, events, trade fairs are always very popular. Content around an exciting project you're working on, etc. So all of these are great. And if you are stuck, I wanted to mention that Kelsey Frick has an amazing book she published. I know it's about LinkedIn, but you can still use it, I think. So she made a 365 days prompt for LinkedIn posts. So there are 365 ideas that you can post on LinkedIn. I know it's not the same social media, but I'm sure you can get inspired, find things to talk about there. So I'm going to link it down below and check it out if it's interesting to you. Another thing you can do, since we are living in the world of Gen AI, right? Head over to your favorite Gen AI tool and you can ask something like, pretend to be an English, French to German freelance translator. You have an Instagram account where you want to share interesting facts about yourself, the profession, your working languages, etc. You want to post twice a week and your goal is lead generation, piquing interest, highlighting inspirations and more. Give me a table with 20 coherent, creative, out-of-the-box post ideas. And as you can see, you get things like why I choose English, French to German translation, lost in translation, behind the scenes, why German rocks, project spotlight, language meet culture, talk about how culture nuances affect translation. So really cool and creative ideas. So make use of these tools that we have at our fingertips. Within literally 1 minute, not even, you have 10, 20, whatever, 100 if you want. You can say 200,000 post ideas. And it's kind of endless idea generation, right? I definitely use this nowadays as well for my YouTube channel. They're not always good, but it's a nice first start, and then you can develop on it and find something that fits to your market, your audience, and to your own preferences as well. Once you published a few posts, you can look into the audience insights on Instagram. It has very nice statistics, so you see which ones perform well, and you can double down on them, on these formats and topics, and do more of them. For example, if you have like an untranslatable word series where you highlight a French word that is just not translatable into English, and you see it's doing amazing numbers, you can make that a series. You can put that every Friday, right? Untranslatable Friday is then your hashtag, and you put that out every Friday, and it becomes your thing. And I love these type of series because it not only is interesting because you know it's interesting, backed on data with the insights, but it also gives you a very clear content strategy that you don't even have to think about, right? For me, the Q&As and the specialized series are always doing well. They're nice for me to make. I learn a lot with it, so they have a clear place in my 3 month structure that I have. Every 8 weeks I do this, every 8 weeks I do that. And that's easier than also to fill the rest. If in your 3 months plan you already have certain spots filled, it's easier to fill the rest, rather than if you look at a blank content plan that can be a bit terrifying sometimes. All right, as I said, that's one way to use Instagram and social media for outreach. Let's move away from that a bit and come to the third and final chapter, which is the more active outreach marketing approach. Outreach marketing refers to the action of actually reaching out to clients directly, right, in a form of either cold or lukewarm prospecting. How can you do that? There are a couple of things you can do in that regard, from very basic things to more like creative out of the box things. So let's look at the most basic one first, which is hashtags. Hashtags are gold for social media market research, even though they are not what they used to be anymore. Like when social media started, they would actually be very helpful in almost all the cases. Now they tend to be a bit overboard with hashtags and you can't really find anything anymore, or people just kind of meme on it and use like weird hashtags that don't have anything to do with the content, but they're still kind of useful in business context. So in our industry, you have translation specific hashtags, for example, like freelance, hashtag freelance translation, hashtag translation, XL8, or if you go down to like gaming translation, legal translation, these are all great hashtags. But they are more if you are looking for industry specific content, right? They are not really useful for finding clients because your clients would not use these hashtags. But of course, if you want to meet with peers, if you want to read interesting content about the industry, then definitely look for these. But that's a different topic. When looking for clients, industry specific hashtags come into play. And there it's important that you try to think like your potential client would think, right? What would they end their posts with? What kind of hashtags? What would they use to showcase their industry that they are in, or even what multilingual needs, multilingual discussions that they are using? If they want to translate their content, what would be a hashtag that they will be using in that content? And by actively tracking these hashtags, you might find profiles, companies that look to expand into new markets, right? And within this hashtag research, you again have two kind of tracks you can go. You can either try to find your perfect client on there, which is great if you find that, because Instagram always suggests other profiles. So if you find something that is almost your ideal client, below you have a full suggestion of actually very similar clients to your ideal client. And that can be very powerful. Or you can actually try to find accounts that are posting things that they might require translators for. This is an important distinction because the company that posts things that they might need translators for might not be in your specialization, but that's fine. You can still reach out to them. But your perfect client, of course, is exactly your target. And if you want to find, let's focus on that first. If you want to find your perfect client, you need to know what kind of hashtags that they are using in their industry. And for that, we use again generative AI. So let's say you are a translator specialized in, fishing gear, okay? So head over to your favorite tool and ask something along the lines of, pretend you're a English to German translator in the fishing industry. You are looking to do market research because you want to find new clients on Instagram. You would like to know what hashtags that your potential clients use on social media. Please give me a list of the most popular hashtags in the fishing equipment, fishing gear, fishing industry. Let's look what it spits out. Okay, we have a nice list with general fishing hashtags like fishing time, angler, fishing equipment hashtags, fishing lures, reel, boat, okay. Niche specific, it even goes to fly fishing, carp fishing, okay, depending on the fish. Outdoors, nature, they're very general. Oh, and then some German hashtags, Fischerei, Angeln, okay, very nice. So there's definitely something in there that we can use. For example, fishing lure, I like fishing lures, so let's go with that. All right, you should all see my Instagram now, so let's go with that fishing lure hashtag. I'm curious what fishing lures, I think it said. Okay, 1.1 million posts, that's definitely promising. Now here on the left side in the For You section is the ones that are personalized to you for that search. So if you're already specialized in this industry, you will already have probably curated things for you. For me, of course not, so just the most relevant come up. As you can see, a lot of promotional posts, informational posts, so that's already a great selection that you can go through if you want to specialize in that and learn more about this industry. So let's just click on one once. This is actually in German, okay. All right. So this seems to be, okay, it's a private person, probably a fishing influencer then, right? Let me check this guy's profile. Okay, yes, he is just sharing his passion for fishing. So that's actually great. That's a great way for me to know a bit more about this industry, because it seems like he is promoting this pike craft fishing, his first choice when it comes to lures. So I would definitely follow this guy, because apparently he's deep in the community, and it's a great way for me to immediately open this pike craft fishing. And it seems to be a brand, almost 20,000 followers, premium terminal tackle, okay, shallow screw. All right, so this is a brand that makes these fishing lures. So apparently that's a fishing lure. Looks like a fish, attracts bigger fish that want to eat them. That's very interesting. So I would definitely check their website. They seem to, okay, that's probably a German brand. They seem to have a German website, Pike Fishing. Well, it's .de, so it's from Germany, but then it's all in English. Let me check the German copy. The lead, for example, up here doesn't change to German, not all at least. Okay, I immediately spot like couple mistakes. All right, this is definitely, yeah, there is a lot to do on this website for a German company, it seems to be, because .de. So I would definitely reach out to them and try to, sell them services either in revision or just, I wouldn't immediately reach out to them. What I would first do is I would follow them on here and interact with them a few times on the posts. The pinned posts here, the top 3, they're obviously important for them, so they're probably proud of them. They apparently had the best new product 2022, so I would look up what's that, comment, interact with them, learn about their business. When they post, do they post regularly? Let me check when they first, they're from the Bodensee region, okay, very close to Switzerland. Oh yeah, this is all very new, right? So they post regularly, so definitely you need to be in here with a nice professional profile, comment things, write things, ask questions, so they maybe reply to you, and then later on you can definitely reach out to them and offer their services. Now, what I mentioned before with related profiles is also important. When you find something like this is a great find, right? And then you see that they follow 6,500 profiles, so you can open that, and almost guaranteed there are companies in here that are related to them, maybe similar. Let's just look like La Fishery TikTok, that seems interesting, right? Waterquake fishing, Sparling lures. So there is definitely a lot of fishing stuff in here, and then you can even look at the hashtags that they follow, if they do. Yeah, they follow a lot of fishing hashtags as well, and I would have never known about eSocks. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be fishing. Let's explore it. 300,000 posts. I hope this is safe for work. Yeah, it is about fishing. Okay. I don't know if it's this type of fish, because it's always the same fish. If there are fishing experts in the comments, let me know what eSocks is. But this is definitely a great way to follow this hashtag as well. And obviously, if you are specialized in this industry, you would know what this means, right? I hope this little demo gave you some insights. Now let's reel back very far to keep with the fishing lingo. I mentioned before this whole demo that you can find your perfect company, but you can also find someone that might need localization. For that, you need very different hashtags. You might use hashtag tracking tools and track things like expansion, expanding, Germany, Switzerland, wherever your target audience is. International trade, import, export, global, and things like this. Of course, this will be a very overwhelming results page, so it takes a lot of time to go through it, much more than the very specific search for fishing lures, right? But it can also be interesting, and you might find some things, because Instagram knows your behavior, so it suggests things that are more relevant to you, right? Or it at least tries. And it can also be very interesting. This way you don't find companies of your specialization, but you might find companies that need your help immediately. There I would not take the same approach as before and first like post, interact, comment, because these people clearly state that they need help now. They are expanding now, right? They're expanding now. So there I would just reach out directly. Don't wait, don't waste any time. You probably have to ask a lot of companies, because this is a very general approach. I can't guarantee that this will work, but why not? If you anyway spend an hour of of your time every day, for example, on marketing efforts, this is a great way to spend that time. Another important aspect of the active outreach approach is that you have to be aware of the biggest players in your industry. Right? If there is a huge company or a huge influencer in the fishing game, that you need to be aware of them. You need to interact with them, make yourself visible, always read what's the latest updates, what's the latest technology, gear, etc. Another idea is if people are publishing books or ebooks in this industry, you might follow the authors and get in touch with them, because they might even not think of translating their books, right? But maybe if they have a book about fishing in English, you might propose to them, hey, don't you want to have it translated also into German? So following individual authors that self-publish books is a great approach that I have been doing myself, and I have actually found an author and I've translated a fitness book for them that I purely found. This was not on Instagram but on another social media, and I purely found them through a market research in the fitness area and then following authors within that. Now, so far, all I've been talking about was organic, and that's, in my opinion, the best approach to do outreach. But of course, there's always the opportunity to do paid ads as well on social media. I've never done it personally, but why not? I mean, they are not so expensive, and you might find just one client that if you spend, I think you can set the ad spend per day. So if you spend, I don't know, $1 per day, you spend $30 a month, and then you find one client for a long term, that could pay for itself. There, I would suggest to work with a marketeer directly that can help you set up a campaign. And then you can really try to target your ad very, very niche. I think with the ad tool from Meta, you can go really niche. So you can try to find your, I don't know, vegan skincare producers in Costa Rica or whatever. I don't know why this came to mind, but something very niche, and then the ad is only served to these people, and then you can actually have results. Don't just serve it to the whole of America. That's not going to help, right? Of course, that requires monetary investments, but sometimes, if you can afford it, why not? It might pay for itself if you find 1 or 2 jobs from it. There you go. That's it for today. I hope this is not too long. It's a lot of information. I hope it was clear. Remember, Instagram is much more than just a tool for posting selfies. It can be extremely important in networking, in market outreach, in marketing as well. It's kind of this global marketing playground, where you never know. It's probably a lot of trash there, but your next potential big client might just be hanging out there. So why not give it a shot if you're passionate about it? If you're not, don't waste your time, because it takes a lot of time. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not yet. It helps out a lot. I'm really trying to reach 35,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So let's make that happen. Thank you very much. I see you next Monday. Bye-bye.